Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Yes. How's everybody doing? Oh, that's fantastic.
Welcome to day 93 of Blobfest.
We hope that you hydrated and also perhaps brought Gatorade products. So, if you haven't noticed, and you've never been here for the third day of Blobfest, this is our more low-key, sedate, we've been running all over the place for more than a week day. So we're just chilling, and we hope that you join us in just chilling.
This is like the Blobfest hangover.
It exactly is like a Blobfest hangover. Nevertheless, we do have a wonderful show for you today, jam-packed with awesome things. Here's Mark Allen Stewart coming toward us down the aisleway. He is the producer of our second film today, The Lost Skeleton Returns Again. He will be up on stage to do some interesting stuff with us, including juggle geese.
I love you guys.
Juggle geese, amazing.
I love you guys.
So this is really just low key, and we've got like 15 minutes for the Blob started, so I thought that it would be fun if we answered questions for you about the Blob, or Phoenixville, or the Colonial Theater, or metaphysics.
Anything you'd like to talk about. We can do each other's hair, talk about our dreams.
I don't know if I'm letting you do my hair, but I can help you out a little bit.
I'm sure you could.
So who would like to ask a question about something?
Anything.
Anything at all?
Ah, here we go. I want to do a Donahue.
Oh, you're going down. I thought he was going over for a second.
What's the pillow all about?
The pillow is a Steve McQueen Blobfest and Dinosaurus pillow that I picked up at a vendor yesterday outside, and my wife so loved it that it was okay for me to spend the money. I always only let to buy one though, so. What it is, delightfully plush. Does anyone know, has anyone seen Dinosaurus? Dinosaurus is another one of the films that Blob director Shorty Yeworth directed. As the title probably clues you in, it is about a giant dinosaur monster. It is one of 3 films that Shorty Yeworth directed in the horror genre, or horror science fiction genre. Does anyone know the third one? We've got Dinosaurus, we've got Blob. Yes, Mr. Lobo.
I believe it is 4D Man.
It is the 4D Man. If you've never seen the 4D Man, don't. There's some cool special effects. And it's long-ish for that. So check it out, perhaps. Other questions? Yes, over there.
I'll get it.
Here comes Lobo. We're getting Lobo's extra workout in today.
Yes, you want to talk about these Nazi nuns and they're taking over our schools and the drugs? Please tell me.
Wow.
This is about the Blob.
Yeah.
Where the house was located, where the old man lived, was that on the studio ground?
Oh, no, the shack the old man lives in was on the Valley Forge Studio soundstage. Along with the crater that they find the Blob in, those were both sound stages. A couple of sequences outside of Jane's house. Outside of Steve's house where Jane comes over. Part of that is behind a house where they get the car out, and part of that, when they turn, is a soundstage. You try to find out where, or which is which. Yes? Really, Lobo, don't run, it's been a long weekend.
I heard you talk about that robe earlier. Where'd you get it?
This robe?
Yes.
Etsy, Hollywood, it's 1940s.
Cool.
And it is really comfy. That's why I turned the thermostat
Yeah,
down.
I heard you talking
Yeah.
about it earlier.
It's very nice.
We can talk men's fashion too if you like. Yes, back there.
Hold on, let me get over it.
And if you were wondering, the ascot is courtesy of Vlad of Kulagogo. He was selling them yesterday, oddly enough.
What year was the movie released?
The film was released in 1958, shot in the summer of 57, so 60 years ago this summer. 57. Did I say 67?
Yeah, shot in 57.
57.
Over a three-week period.
Yes.
Three weeks of shooting creates a 60-year legend, ladies and gentlemen.
Other questions? I'm still entertaining questions in any genre. I can't answer all of them, but it could be interesting.
We will take questions.
How'd you two get such amazing voices?
Oh my God. Lobo, you want to take this one, or is it genetics, or what?
I like to keep about 3 ounces of peanut butter in my base at all times.
Who was it that suggested that? Who was that?
It was Tony Todd.
It was
actually.
Tony Todd, okay.
I interviewed him at a convention. He says you got to have peanut butter in your base. So I try to have a little bit of peanut butter in my base.
I like to drink a lot of whiskey, but that has nothing to do with my voice.
Well, I actually did radio theater for 9 years at University of Davis in California.
Do those tapes survive? Because we should have those.
I have a little suitcase with a sticker of Yoda on it, if that gives you any idea how old it is. But I do have a suitcase with a sticker of Yoda that's filled with cassette tapes from my radio days. So.
Mr. Lobo, you are ageless, sir.
But I did radio theater, and I got it's funny because in the world of podcasting and stuff like that, we had to get a license to be on the radio. So we had to get an FCC license and take classes and get a little certificate from the government that said you could be on the air, And so it was very exciting to get my FCC license, and we all had our radio voice.
That's right, Mr. Lobo, we all did.
That's right, Dash.
Which, by the way, this is my normal speaking voice, and this is my Dash Daring voice, and one of them is really hard to do for an entire weekend.
When was the first time you guys saw the Blob?
When was the first time you saw the Blob, Dash, Chuck, Dash, Chuck?
I have no names, I'm nameless. The Blob was not, a lot of times people say the Blob was the first horror film they saw, which makes a ton of sense because the Blob has like a campy, fun quality. You can show it to kids young and they're not overly scared. But I think I probably saw it when I was between 8 and 10. I can't remember it specifically. We got cable when I was really young because my dad had to watch Flyers hockey games in Philly, and so you had to have Prism. Anyone remember Prism? Yeah. So we had to have Prism for that. But my dad didn't realize we also had to have this channel that showed like Nightmare on Elm Street, and there was no kind of filter or censor. So I remember that was the first horror film I saw because I was 6, and I was sitting on it was the third one. I was sitting on the couch waiting for to go to Easter Mass, and I was in my little suit, and my parents were cleaning up breakfast with my sister, and it was the sequence where he's feeding the girl her guts while she's in the high chair, and I was 6. And it turned out great, you guys. So
yeah, you're fine. No problem.
But I can't remember the exact first time I saw the Blob.
The Blob I saw probably in the 1970s on afternoon television. That's probably the movie of the week on afternoon TV, and it was absolutely terrifying. And I remember my dad saying, "Oh, it's just raspberry jelly," or there was like this explanation that just made no sense. And somehow I felt better after hearing it. "Oh, it's just raspberry jelly. Would you like a sandwich?" No. But I also later, not too long later, I think it was 1978, 79, Mattel put out a product called slime in a little garbage can. And they had the red variety of slime that had worms or eyeballs in it, which I had gotten. And so then it was always the Blob. We're always playing the Blob with Mattel's slime.
So we talked about this is a good movie to show kids as a first horror film, a good primer. But there was a horrific sequence in it that was longer that ended up being cut, and they got rid of the material. So we don't even there's a single still shot of it. Does anyone know what sequence it is? It is.
I'm in suspense. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Oh, this is the sequence where Steve actually sees Doc Hammond being eaten by the Blob, and we just see Steve's reaction, his emoting, which is a little bit comical because we see nothing else but him. Doc Hammond hits the window, and then we see Steve like. There was a really long sequence where Doc Hammond's being digested by the Blob, and they were watching it and deemed it like just too horrific. To get a sort of an idea, Valley Forge Film Studios, before they made this Blob film, they made religious short films. So to them, this horrific sequence of a person being dissolved by a Blob was well beyond their sensibility. So they removed it and destroyed the materials, and so we only just have one still publicity shot of that survives.
Oh, I see a few hands up here. Let me go way in the back.
I'm waiting for you to jump into the balcony and take questions.
That scene where the men go into the school to get the fire extinguishers, where was that filmed at?
The school that they break into for the fire extinguishers is just on the other side of town, maybe less than a 10-minute walk from here. It is now currently called, it's got a longer name. It's Breckley Elementary School. It's still over there. It still looks exactly the same. You drive by and you can see where they just pulled up the cars and broke the window. I'm surprised that window doesn't get broken a lot, actually. Yeah,
We're going to be going over there after to throw rocks at the window.
Are we gonna-
Everyone who wants to throw rocks at the school, start that right after the show.
Should we call the cops ahead of time just so they're ready for all this? Balcony questions. We love you guys even though I can barely see you. Anybody? Oh, you got somebody there behind the camera.
Okay, I thought we were trying to...
I was trying. You guys were quiet up there.
What did they make the blob out of?
The blob was made of silicone. It was at the time a brand new material. I think I said this last night if you guys were in any of the shows last night. So it's one of those things where people would see it on screen and have absolutely no idea what it could possibly be made of because the normal person hadn't heard of silicone by that point. It moved by being heated, so it became more gelatinous, and they could. Actually, this is cool, so I'll explain it again. They would make miniatures where the blob would be used, so you can kind of tell, especially on a big screen, where those miniatures are at. And they would put the blob on there, and they would warm it up, and that would be on one end of a gimbal, a big pole like a seesaw that they could rotate 360 degrees, and the camera would be mounted exactly on the opposite end. So it would look like everything's right side up, and then they would just rotate the entire gimbal so that the blob would ooze toward the camera. So, movie magic.
And they would speed it up, right?
And they would speed it up.
Yes.
And they also, this is something they invented for this film. So the camera operator designed this, the special effects guy designed this to make the blob actually come at you.
And a lot of the models were cardboard with photographs of the things that they were oozing over.
They do a really good job. Like if you haven't seen this on the big screen or the Criterion Blu-ray that's really high resolution, the models are really actually well done, just for being photographs blown up and cut apart.
Yeah.
You'll be able to tell, but if you just watched it on TV, or if you saw the original DVD of it that wasn't as high of resolution, you'd probably not be able to tell where everything was.
Well, and it's interesting because I think the effects artists knew the limitations of the resolution, and they knew for the most part how a lot of these things would be viewed. And you know, it's interesting to see some of these effects artists who are mad that there are Blu-rays coming out of these things. It's like, you know, TV is at that time was only like 700 lines of resolution. You know, and no one could really scrutinize the wires and stuff and things. And now we can see all those things that we thought the audience would never see.
Sure.
And now they can see the Scotch tape and popsicle sticks holding it together.
So I wanted to mention really quickly a movie. Valley Forge Film Studios made a short film, and I haven't been able to get a copy of it yet. So if you have a copy of this, let me know, because I just want to see it for interesting historical purposes. And it was called The God Blimp. Has anyone seen The God Blimp? Hello, up in the balcony. Oh, hang on, just 1 second. I'll get to you in just 1 second. But I got you. I got you. So The God Blimp was shot here in Phoenixville, which is the reason I want to see it. It was shot all around town. Downtown, and it was a preacher who thought everyone in town had gone godless, so he got or constructed a blimp and dropped God pamphlets on people, like airdrop God pamphlets. I just want to see it because it sounds interesting to see the town back then, but it's so weird.
So this was one of the films made by Valley Forge?
This was made by the same folks that made the Blob, yeah, before
Wow.
they made the Blob. Yes, sir, up in the balcony. So how was Phoenixville chosen for the filming locations? So some of them are here, and there's a bunch in the different surrounding areas. Valley Forge Film Studios is located in Yellow Springs, which is not very far from here. So they did a bunch of location scouting, and the Colonial Theater's management at the time was not, I've heard various stories, not aptly described as super enthusiastic about it, but willing to take the money in the off time to let them shoot here. And that played into how quickly they have to set up some of the shots, because they had to be in and out overnight before the theater would open back up for films. But the Colonial Theater was chosen because they let the filmmakers come in, and it was a cool looking marquee. Other locations like the diner is the Downingtown Diner, which is still there, and the new current owners they're all about the 50s aesthetic, so they've got that whole thing going on. It's beautiful.
The basement and the foundation is the original, but
Yes.
of course the Blob ate the diner,
Of
so they
course.
had to rebuild the diner itself.
But it's beautiful 50s styling. Jerry's
They have a
Market
Blob
is...
burger over there too.
Oh, is it good?
It is, I like it.
The Jerry's Market is located in Royersford. It's where the old Sly Fox was at. Let me see, what other cool locations? Doc Howland's house is on the other side of town, not like 5 minutes from here. The school we just talked about. What else am I missing?
Garage?
Oh, the garage. I just heard the garage is being sold. It still looks exactly the same as it does. It's not in Spring City. I think it's in Spring City, or it might be on that side of Phoenixville.
After the run out, when you see them like coming around the corner, where is that?
Yes, so when they run out and then it cuts to them running up a corner, that's actually in Royersford by Anna Marie's breakfast place. If you were looking down and Anna Marie's on your right, that's the corner they turn and run up. So they actually, those teenagers and people at the theater, ran a marathon from out the door in Phoenixville through to Royersford and then way the heck over to Downingtown.
When the blob's on your heels, man, you just run. You just keep running.
We'll take one more question. Well, actually, before we do that, just a quick heads up. We're going to do the Blob. We're going to have a musical interlude.
We're going to do the Blob?
Let's just not think about that. It's Sunday. We're going to have Michael Graves up here to do an acoustic monster rock set. And then we're going to do a quick introduction to The Lost Skeleton Returns Again with Mark Allen Stewart.
The producer.
The producer of the film, thank you. And we'll show the film, and then we'll do a nice Q&A afterwards to get all those burning Lost Skeleton questions out in the open. So one more question about the Blob, and then we'll get started. Go ahead.
Well, there was Beware the Blob, and I believe Beware the Blob and Son of the Blob are the same movie, aren't they? We're just retitled. And then in the 80s, they did, in 88, they did a remake with Matt Dillon's brother.
Kevin Dillon of the Fantastic Mullet line.
Yes, that was an incredible mullet.
It was.
In fact, it should have been the mullet eating everything.
It's a mullet riding a dirt bike away from a giant monster, yes?
And you know, there also are some fun anomalies that I would put on that list of blob-like
Just strictly speaking, though,
movies.
we're talking 3, not counting the one that's currently in production and it's supposed to have Sam Jackson attached to it.
Well,
I'm not actually joking.
I mean, they have jumped. I mean, they have promised us a new Blob movie several times.
They have, yeah.
Rob Zombie was supposed to do one that never happened. So
The Blob got a backstory about being an emo 12-year-old kid with bad hair, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. White trash family beat him up, and then he turned into a blob.
I would watch that. I'm sorry.
So no, I think that it's so until it wraps production, I think that we'll just go with the films that exist.
So we're talking 3.
So I
3
guess
Blob films.
3 official Blob films. Although
and a stage musical.
there's a
stage
musical of
yes.
the Blob. Also, there is an improv troupe called the LA Connection. They did a movie called Blobbermouth, where they took the Blob and retract all the audio of it, and it's hysterical if you ever get to see that. I would call that the unofficial 4th.
The stepbrother of the Blob films.
And then I would watch like The Stuff. I'd put
This stuff is very good, but you eat this. All right, folks, we're gonna get off the stage. We'll be back. We want you to really enjoy the heck out of the last showing of this year's Blobfest of The Blob.